2020 was a year like no other.
We've adapted, we've adjusted, and I feel like come first day, we'll be ready to go, ready to play.
As we turn the page to 2021, some of the best players in the world converged on Adelaide.
Here it comes.
Rafa is a titan of the sport.
Oh, that is brilliant. Clean winner, lovely shot from Halep.
Oh, yes, Halep!
Unbelievable athleticism on display from Dominic Thiem.
The first day out of quarantine, first match in front of a crowd since a long time, so I'm super excited.
Barty just guiding that ball down the line.
And listen to that roar.
I'm excited, and I think it'll be perfect preparation leading into the Australian Open.
It's Nadal, Thiem, Halep, all in action tonight. And Adelaide, are you ready for the Barty party? We're ready for the Barty party. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a day at the Drive. Live tennis is back, and we're so happy about that. And earlier this afternoon, things got underway at the Drive, and this is what happened. Jannik Sinner came out to play Novak Djokovic, or so he thought. Filip Krajinovic came out and played a great opening set. Novak then said, well, I'm stepping out. And he finished the job for Team Serbia with an emphatic win, straight set, 6-3, 6-3. Great to see him in good early form. And then it was two of the greats of the women's game. Serena Williams came up against the current US Open champion, Naomi Osaka. They split sets, and then it went all the way to the match tiebreak, which Serena took home. But a great afternoon of tennis, and it gets even better here this evening with Rafael Nadal first up to take on the US Open champ, Dominic Thiem. And then it is our own Ash Barty, and she will take on Simona Halep. So, what a lineup that is. There's Ash arriving just a little earlier, and boy, is she ready to get things going. And alongside of me in the studio is her former doubles partner, Casey Delacqua. Casey, I know you're looking forward to seeing Ash get out on court.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to see Ash out on court. I'm sure Australia is excited to see Ash out on court. And I think most importantly, she is ready and raring to go after 12 months at home to be back out there competing in front of a great Adelaide crowd. We'll
talk about a great Adelaide crowd. We're going to check in courtside with John Fitzgerald. And Fitzy, it was a big crowd this afternoon, and another 4,000 have piled in this evening. It looks like another great atmosphere.
There's not many free seats here, Todd, I can tell you that, and the atmosphere is electric. I think there's even more anticipation tonight because of Ash Barty, but also because of the men's match. You know, we talk about people hitting the ball lightly or heavily in this sport. Tonight we have two of the heaviest hitters, heavyweights, that we have in the sport. Thiem, Nadal. It's going to be a slugfest from the back of the court.
Well, that's the first matchup, Fitzy. What about when Ash Barty gets out against Simona Halep? It'll be interesting to see what sort of form she brings to match play. We know she's been doing the practice and the training, but this is a little different.
Well, it is, and it is always a worry, isn't it, when a player doesn't have competitive matches for a long period of time. It's been virtually all year, and I think we're all a little bit sitting back with our hearts in our mouths a little bit, hoping that her form is good off the bat. It might take her a few matches to get rolling, though. Let's keep our fingers crossed tonight, because Simona Halep has had a lot more matches in the previous 12 months.
Well, they're quite different lead-ins here, because obviously Ash Barty being in Australia and hasn't had to go through quarantine. Simona Halep has had her coach Darren Cahill, a good mate of ours. He went into quarantine to help her prepare. Have you had a chat to Killer at all?
Just briefly, he told me he was in quarantine. He's here tonight. He's heading to Melbourne in the morning. Look, he's a South Australian legend, Darren Cahill. Football, tennis, whatever you want, Todd. He's there, but he's done an amazing job with Simona. He's one of the best coaches of this sport in the world. I don't say that lightly. He is. So Ash and her team are up against it tonight. Let's hope she gets off to a good start.
All right, Fitzy, thanks very much. We'll keep checking in with you at courtside throughout this evening. We talked about the crowds, 4,000 allowed into Memorial Drive, and they've been packing them in. When tickets went on sale, they went so quickly. Everybody looking forward to being able to see live sport once again. And Casey, that's a big thing for the players.
Absolutely. We've heard it from Novak today, from Serena and Naomi Osaka. Everyone, all of the cohort of tennis players that are out here are thrilled to be playing in front of crowds once again. That's what you are an athlete for. You want to get out there and you want to play in front of the fans. So we're very lucky here in Australia that we've got crowds like this out here watching, and then throughout the Australian Summer of Tennis, we're going to see a lot of great tennis being played.
Well, we talked a lot about Ash. Let's focus on the match coming up right now. Rafa Nadal, we know he's notoriously a little bit late as he goes through his pre-match routine, so he's on his way out any moment now, but he takes on Dominic Thiem, and these two have had some real brute matches over recent times, in particular one at the Australian Open last year.
Yeah, where they met in the quarterfinals there. It was a great match. It was a bit of a breakthrough moment for Dominic Thiem. It really set up his year. Obviously, he went on to win the US Open, Dominic Thiem, but fan favourite Rafael Nadal, obviously another French Open title under his belt, but a true champion of the game, and I'm sure he'll be thrilled to get out on court tonight.
Well, there he is, Dominic Thiem, and we're ready to throw to players to get out onto court.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a year it was in 2020 for our first player on court tonight. After reaching the Australian Open final, he claimed his first Grand Slam title, winning the US Open. Ladies and gentlemen, from Austria, can you please welcome the world number 3, Dominic Thiem. Our next player is someone who has put together a truly remarkable career. Equalled the record for most Grand Slams won with his 20th title at the French Open. Ladies and gentlemen, from Spain, the world number 2, Rafael Nadal.
Well, how good was it to hear a real roar as Rafa walked out onto court? We've heard computer-generated crowds over the last 6 to 8 months, and that was real, and it was goosebump stuff.
Yeah, certainly was. And Rafael Nadal, he's one of the most intense players out there, and that would have certainly helped lift his intensity getting ready for this match against Dominic Thiem, US Open champion.
Well, you're right, intense physicality from both of them too, to go with that intensity. And you know, I expect this match will be played quite brutally in a way, because this is their first test to see where really their ball striking's at, where their fitness is at. And Rafa straight into his routines, isn't he?
Yeah, he's does everything so particular. But as you said, this is going to be a real great match for both players to get out there. They're going to start off with a bang, and you would expect a high intensity level of match from both players from start to beginning. From start to end, yeah. I should say.
Well, let's listen in as they go to the coin toss.
This is Christoph. Well, just do a photo. I think this guy wants to do it. Just keep your distance a little bit. New COVID protocols. So you stand here. Yeah. So one thing I just want to tell you guys, if you go to your towel, can you just leave it at your bench and use the bench instead of using the back of the court? If you go to the towel, can you just leave it at the bench, at your bench? No, it's not really anywhere. So you'll have enough time. Yeah. Any questions? No? All right, Chris. Yeah, we have challenges. Yeah, 3%. Off you go, Chris. Yeah, we have. Yeah. Okay, Dominic. Heads. What is it? Tails? Your call. Yeah. Serve. Serve. All right. Good match.
There's the trademark sprint back to the baseline from Rafa. And old habits die hard, don't they? As soon as they went in for the photo, he went to put his arm on the young fella's shoulder. And nope, can't do that at the moment with COVID protocol rules. So lots of different things that players have to adjust through. We heard the piece about the towels as we take a look at Rafa's bio.
Well, there's not too much to say about Rafael Nadal except that he is, the Rafa, and he'll be out here tonight ready and raring to go. I love the way that he's gone about his tennis for his whole career, and it's so great that he's back out here in Australia, obviously got through the quarantine, and he'll be ready for this match and excited to see him for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, 86 titles to his name. 60 of those are on clay, though, Casey. He obviously is won a US Open and Australian Open on hard, but both of these players more attuned to the clay court where they've learnt the game. As we take a look at Dominic Thiem, ranked number 3 in the world now after that US Open victory, and one of the most aggressive strikers of the ball. Well, Case, we know there were times throughout this last few months where we thought the Australian Open may not get underway, and I can tell you what, it's been a massive journey to get to here.
We've been on a long journey, and our primary objective is to ensure that the community is protected. The Australian Open is going to go ahead 3 weeks later than its normal date, starting on February the 8th. We have now a chance to showcase our ability as the major events capital of the world,
as well as our capability on delivering these events in what is a very challenging time for all of us.
Everything that's great about this sport on display.
Recognise that voice.
You done?
His best moment, however, came at the US Open when he became the first player in more than 70 years to win the event from 2 sets down in the final, eventually beating Adelaide. A wonderful career already, which has a very healthy 17 ATP titles to his name, with the promise of so many more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, please welcome Dominic Thiem.
Three minutes. Two minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, Dominic Thiem won the toss and chose to serve.
It's another 5-set epic from the two best players in the world. Rafael Nadal wins in Melbourne at the Australian Open for the first time.
Well, what memories that must bring back for Rafael Nadal. His title there in 2009, of course, not just as his legacy in terms of the numbers, but also longevity as well, Sam. I mean, longevity in that tournament back in 2009. He came off the back of a semi-final win against Verdasco over 5 hours. He has been unique.
Well, he certainly has. He's a superstar, and you don't use that term lightly. We've been so lucky in the men's game, haven't we, to have the likes of Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer and now Novak Djokovic all pushing to be arguably the greatest of all time. It's all about records for these guys, but everywhere Nadal goes, he just draws a crowd, and they've turned out in droves to see him play, who is arguably, well, the player he's playing is arguably a superstar of the game as well in Dominic Thiem.
There's no question about that. Here in South Australia, he certainly elevated himself into superstar status, the Austrian, when he got back from winning in the US Open. I mean, it was like a rock star homecoming, something that obviously Rafa knows 20 times. He's picked up Grand Slam titles, as we see Simona Halep. Of course, she's up against Ash Barty after this match tonight. Of course, Simona with a couple of major titles to herself and one of the world's best coaches, as John Fitzgerald was saying, in her corner in Darren. But he is brave. In fact, I think at times he has the courage of a lunatic, Dominic Thiem, the way that he plays. It is breathtaking, it's high velocity, but it has certainly proved to be a winning formula.
Well, it certainly has. That backhand down the line, he just bludgeons it, doesn't he? And you've got to think the last 3 times these guys played on hard court, 7 of those sets have gone to a tiebreak. They both bring that physical intensity, that high level. And tonight, the fans in Adelaide, they've probably seen or haven't seen tennis of this sort of standard. I know we haven't even started yet, but you're predicting tennis of this sort of standard for a long, long time. They're in for a real treat.
Yeah, we're on Rafael Nadal at the moment, but Dominic Thiem, of course, what is he, 9-3 against the big 3 since the start of 2019. Along with Andy Murray, has 5 wins against each of the big 3 as well, of course. We're talking Djokovic, Federer and Nadal. He's 7-2 on a hard court as well, the Austrian, against top 5 players in recent times. He has the quality on this surface to entertain and to win.
Love 15.
For me, Petch, the thing I'm looking for from Dominic Thiem, we've seen it for so long with the likes of Nadal and the improvements they make year to year, is what are we going to see different from Dominic Thiem in 2021? We know he loves to stand behind the baseline, and we mentioned smash the forehand, get on top of the backhand. Is he going to look to maybe beef that serve up a bit or improve the accuracy? I feel like that's one area. And also just his ability to finish a little more consistently at the net, not drag points out quite as long. And that might answer my question straight away, throwing in a serve volley.
Yeah, he certainly did it last year, didn't he, against Nadal at the Australian Open. Number of little serve volley points, lovely little pickups as well, half volley pickups. Has beefed up his serve over the years as well. You look back at 2016, he was averaging about 113 miles an hour. Lots of kick serves back then. Last year, averaged 120 on tour.
Is that fast?
On average, it's fast. Not compared to yours. That, though, was pretty swift. Razor-sharp forehand here from Nadal.
Already, don't give Rafa a running forehand. He has the ability to pull that both ways. This time, goes cross-court. The ability he has to impart spin on the ball, second to none.
So good. He's got 5 miles an hour better pace on his forehand than Nadal. We talk about Nadal's forehand, but again, last season he was at 77 miles an hour, which is very nice. Dominic Thiem averaging at 82 miles an hour off that wing. That is dynamite. Just lost it in the light. Usually a very clinical finisher up at net, but not that time for the Spaniard. Another man that knew his way around the net proficiently, excellently, is sitting in the stands right now, looking on. John Fitzgerald, what an atmosphere. How we've missed this.
Oh, this is beautiful. I couldn't think of a better place I'd rather to be, Mark. And that may be the first volley I've seen Rafa miss in about 4 years. He is so underrated at the net, but he comes in when he's at a big advantage. That's why it makes it a little easier to volley. He's not a guy that's going to serve and volley a lot and play a lot of defensive volleys, but he's a terrific touch volleyer. And look, this is just exciting to see athletes of this standard up close.
Yeah,
you know, we talked about Thiem and where he might go with his game. You know, I've seen him play some incredible all-court tennis. He grew up on clay. That's where he feels most comfortable. And sometimes I think he reverts back to that mentality where he plays a little bit too much at the back of the court. I think to go to the next level, which he did at the US Open on a hard court, a bit more all-court tennis would help him. But he's a star.
We'll keep dropping back in with you, Fitzy. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a soft beverage and enjoy the show.
It is the toughest time of the day here with the sun. It's quite awkward for both players, and there's a gap that comes through the roof here on the western side, and there's going to be probably 15 or 20 minutes, you'd think, where they're in and out of the sun. Quite disconcerting.
Yeah, that had to play havoc with that forehand volley that we saw from Rafa in that opening game. It's so underrated, Rafa's ability at the net. Just over time, he's simplified his whole game. He's almost reconstructed his serve, he's reconstructed his backhand, and he's got the simplest volleys. Not a lot that can go wrong. That was an easy finish, but very proficient.
Yeah, and he's worked hard on that stroke as well, of course. Last Australian Open 2020 was when he broke out the slightly redesigned, tweaked service motion that he talked about with his coach Carlos Moyer. Francisco Roy calls Carlos Moyer, because of the quarantine rules, isn't here. But he's just a little bit taller on his serve, not quite as much rotation with the upper body. And he posted some good numbers last year on serve himself. I mean, he was averaging 118 miles an hour on his first, but perhaps surprisingly 100 miles an hour on his second serve as well. That's not easy to attack when it's coming in at that pace.
Game Nadal.
Left-handed kick serve jumping back into Dominic Thiem there.
One game.
Just gets himself a little jammed here, Thiem. This one kicks back in, gets right into his left shoulder, unable to create the space on that single hand backhand. Really getting up around head height. You add that to the power that you just spoken about, followed by what he backs it up with from the back of the court, and that's a nightmare for players.
Let's
Yeah, some more decent pace on that. One of the Australian Tennis Federation's official charity, the Australian Tennis Foundation there. If you text tennis to, if you're inside Australia, 0400 662 662. Working very hard to inspire brighter futures for children and young people. They have committed over 130,000 Aussie dollars at the moment to support bushfire communities that were affected, of course, last year over a 3-year period. So tough times for everybody at the moment, but if you can help, as I say, text tennis to 0400 662 662.
Well, again, trying the serve volley. You can just see there, sort of jumped at it a little bit. You can see as he moves forward, really tries to explode forward with the feet, but maybe just doing a touch too much with the racket. I do like the move, though. You mentioned Nadal without Carlos Moyer. Well, Dominic Thiem also without his coach, Nicolas Massou. They've had an unbelievably successful partnership since they got together. Almost an unlikely partnership, really.
Juice.
Yeah, as you say, hugely successful though, pretty much instantaneously as well. Indian Wells 2019, Nicholas came on board. He's a real giver as well in terms of his time, his generosity, Nicolas Massou, and has just brought the best out of Dominic, no question about it.
Well, that one 201 kilometres an hour, but it's where he positions it. Close to the tee, fairly short in the box, gets up off the court. Nadal, no chance of getting his forehand return to that one.
Yep, and perhaps wasn't using that serve quite as much back in 2016, but he is certainly delivering with the heat in the Australian summer, and he is 2-1 up in the first set.
Folks, there's plenty to do and a lot of fun and entertainment out there today, so let's have a look at what is out in the crowd tonight. Shane, what have you found? As Sam's Tommy on here, stuck away up in the corporates, with Jimmy getting quite more behind him. We'll get some data a little bit later. We're going to roam around so I'll try and get you to get down to five.
Rafa as ever with his leg going, never sitting still for 1 second. Very different to how he is off the court. We all see him in his office putting his bottles, getting everything ordered, but as he says off the court, he's far more relaxed and chilled out. This is just what gets him in the right frame of mind to produce the tennis that he's thrilled us with since pretty much 2005.
You couldn't be like that for the entirety of a day. It would be exhausting. I'm sure it's exhausting playing tennis at that intensity. To take that away from the court, though, that would be next level.
Both these two, when you look at their numbers when they get to the net, pretty much convert on 3/4 of them. 75% of the time they come away with the point.
And that's a dangerous proposition when you've got Nadal serving like he did there, getting around onto a forehand. The ability to move forward and he wins 3 out of 4 doesn't give you much chance.
15 all.
Well, that's twice now we've seen Thiem have trouble with that second serve coming from a different angle and jumping on him a little bit. He doesn't want to chip that ball. He needs to hit it, because if he chips it too lightly, Rafa will instantly get a forehand and be on top in the point. So he has to try to come over it, but needs to find his range there.
Well, of course, the other option is to go back in the court, which then gives Nadal more time as well, and that's not something that you want to do. So it's a little bit of a dilemma. Fitzy, how's the court speed and balls looking? Obviously, it's always a little bit different every summer as we get started.
Yeah, it seems quite normal to me, Sam. It's cool conditions here, so it shouldn't be flying quite as much as it would be in the middle of the day. A little bit cool, perfect conditions really. And look, I think it's just first match. They've both mishit the ball a couple of times, but the standard, you've got to say, is pretty high so far. They've been working hard in the off season. You can see it. You can see it in their their movement definition in their legs. They're ready for the summer here.
Interesting to watch Rafa play this match, actually, because they obviously played at the World Tour final, lost 6-6, very few chances between them. 7 break points in the entire match. Rafa had 5 against him. He saved 4 of them, but played a lot of cross-courts forehand. I mean, he was literally at about 90% cross-court forehands against Thiem in that match. Got a little bit predictable, and Dominic's down-the-line backhand hurt him a lot.
Was a shot for Rafa that he had so much success with against Roger Federer for so many years, and Federer wasn't able to do that necessarily very well. Step up, take the backhand down the line early. Thiem would have had the opportunity to grow up almost watching those two guys toe-to-toe and learn how to combat that as he came onto tour.
High-octane stuff from the Austrian.
It
was an interesting first choice of volley. We didn't see it in the replay there, but able to get plenty of height to bounce the smash out of Nadal's reach.
Yeah, he's made it. This is great entertainment. This is exactly why so many people have worked so hard over the last 12 months to put this Australian summer of tennis on for these moments here. Savor it.
Game.
So enjoyable to watch these two. Big round of applause accompanying another ace from the team serve, and it's 3-2 opening set.
Team leads by 3-2.
Well, he's won 1,004 matches on tour, has Rafael Nadal. 300, of course, he clocked up Dominic Thiem by the end of last year, of course. Came up short in the World Tour finals against Daniil Medvedev. What a match that was from the Russian. Turned things around. He was in desperate straits in the second set against the Austrian before actually a serve and volley on a second serve from Medvedev. Dug himself out of trouble. But for Nadal, even though this obviously exhibition event, you can sense the energy radiating from him.
Mr. Thiem is challenging the call on the left center serve. The ball is called in.
I don't think he's going to have much luck here. This was perfectly placed by Nadal, sliding away down the tee.
Fifteen love. Mr. Thiem has
Sam, already seeing this match, I mean, it is just one of the narratives around men's tennis in particular, that it's a baseline game, but you look at the amount of points already in this match that have been finished at the net. I've said it already in commentary today, but go back to Nadal's match with Medvedev in the US Open final. There was something like 360 points in the match. Over 40% of them were finished at the net. There is a lot more to men's tennis than people talk about.
You see it a lot with younger players. You talk to them about finishing points at the net, and they think you're talking about serve volleying and net rushing, like I probably played and like you probably played. But it's not that. It's just the ability to finish and notice your opponent at full stretch, and they open the racket face, and all of a sudden you're on top of the net. Why would you want to hit 5 or 6 more balls?
Game, Nadal. Three games all.
It must be an amazing feeling for these players to be playing in front of a crowd again. It's the one thing I miss from being on tour is that feeling of walking into a stadium and hearing that. And these players have had to play almost 12 months in front of nobody. Dominic Thiem's won his maiden Grand Slam in front of empty stadiums. What a thrill it must be just to play in front of fans again, because that's what the players do this for.
$15 love.
It's interesting to watch how ultra aggressive Nadal is being with his court position here on the second serve.
What, 34 years of age? You don't think he can go as hard physically as he probably has for so many years. He's got to find new ways to win points. And maybe one of those is stepping up and taking that return early.
Oh, he's just missed it. And you can see from his reaction, he felt as though it had a better than evens chance of making it.
Well, you just move to the edge of your seat, don't you, when you see Rafa running for a forehand. Thiem just getting that volley short and wide enough that Rafa couldn't get a full swing on the forehand.
Team pretty happy to hit a lot of slice backhands, but maybe that particular slice backhand not the best placed.
He'll be disappointed with that one, Rafa. Didn't quite get enough width on the serve team. Rafa felt like that was an opportunity. 3-all, 30-all last game before a ball change.
Just missed the intended target. 4-3 team.
Team, new balls, please. Team leads 4 games to 3.
Well, what an enthralling evening's tennis we have to enjoy. We've got Simona Halep up against a homegrown superstar, already a legend in Australia, Barty. That coming up after this one, which is already enthralling this 4,000 fans here in the Memorial Drive.
Well, if this is the appetizer for the main course, the people at Memorial Drive tonight are in for a fantastic evening, aren't they?
Barty will be a match dripping with charisma, imagination as well from those two. Ash always bringing something a little bit different to the tennis court. Almost some John Fitzgerald style tennis there, but Nadal somehow steals the point away.
Oh, you've just pumped me up way too much here. This is an extraordinary pass because Thiem did what we have been hoping he might do, but he got that backhand out in front, got over the top of it, made a terrific return, and the volley wasn't too bad. I thought with the speed on that volley it might rush Nadal there, but gee, what a shot to come up with. Yeah, we don't talk about his volley and smash, do we? Geez, good overhead too, but you know, it's really the first guy that gets the hit in here. This is how these modern guys play. If they get any chance to really put some extra weight on the first forehand, they tend to win the point because it puts the other guy on the defense. They get a shorter ball. Most of the time, they're going to win the point. He who gets in first.
Oh. 30-15.
just getting enough depth on that return team. Nadal unable to skip around and use that forehand.
Sparingly hit the serve out wide in London at the World Tour Finals on the first serve on the due side. Nadal, he went predominantly into this backhand side, wanting to get a more central ball back to use his forehand straight away, but perhaps at times just got a little predictable in the big moments. He went there again, and it was a good serve, but you could see that Thiem was leaning there to could at least get the ball back into play. And once again, the forehand falters for the Spanish superstar.
He went to the well again, didn't he? Used the slider. This time, Thiem unable to get quite enough depth on the return. Nadal quickly up with his feet. And the racket head speed he's able to generate from down low. Terrific stuff from the world number 2. Seems to really be grabbing that second serve and really getting up off the court. It's another one that seemed to just lift on Dominic a touch, unable to cover it back down.
Yeah, although classed as a hard court in London, of course, indoors, it's more of a green set, softer surface. It doesn't kind of jump as high as you say. The ball not really losing a lot of velocity out here.
Game Nadal.
And of course, the World Tour Finals is the only remaining major singles title that this man hasn't won in the game. All 4 majors, almost so tantalizing close to become the first man in the Open era to win all 4 majors twice. Of course, 4 times he's lost in the final since that win in Australia in 2009. As we take a look outside to a few people that have got a little bit more courage than me.
The bird's eye view up there on top of Adelaide Oval, going for a look over the, well, what is the football, or Australian rules football, and the cricket stadium next door at Memorial Drive here. Huge redevelopment going on in this whole area so they can host so many more world-class events like what we're seeing today.
10 million already spent here. Another 44 million earmarked for that redevelopment, as you say. Another 6,000 fans will be able to sit and watch on centre court. 4 permanent tennis courts.
Third
Maybe 30 love has an impact on that forehand, but again, trying to step in and really give that a rip.
Game team.
Classy hold to love at a crucial time in the opening set for Dominic Thiem, and he's 5-4 up.
Time.
Adelaide, Memorial Drive, where memories are made. Up high, down low. The only time you're going to see these two in slow motion is when we give you shots like that. Effort, perseverance, resilience, character, champion qualities. He may well be in the twilight of his career, but he is still a force to be reckoned with. Rafael Nadal serving 4-5 opening set. He's kept that under lock and key, that backhand down the line so far.
He has, and it was a noticeable tactic change there from Dominic Thiem in that opening point. Brought his position on the baseline well back. Nadal obviously serving to stay in the set. Wanted to make him work for it. Maybe just pulling the trigger, though, on the wrong ball there, down below knee height. It's not an easy shot.
I think that might have been an out ball. I just have a feeling he snatched at that volley at the last second. Team trying to really make a stand here, it looks like. The first one, though, was the wrong shot. He just went for way too much on that first forehand on the point. But, guys, I just want to make a point of how happy everyone is here in the stands. Live sport, it's back. And the people here, they all seem like they're enjoying with a smile on their face. It's so good to see.
Well, we're certainly happy to see it. Patch, I hope everyone at home is so happy to see live sport again. Obviously, we've missed the buzz of the crowd, haven't we?
Oh my goodness. An absolute bullet of a backhand.
We can tell you how difficult this shot is. Open stance sliding backhand over the highest part of the net for a single-hander. That is the most difficult shot in the game.
I still think that's the remnants of his double-hander as a teenager, that he's able to hit that open stance like that.
It's just not
It's
a
not a normal
stance that
shot.
you practice as a single-hander. Maybe if you're full stretch like that. But you don't make it.
Oh, he was looking to go again. It's actually one of the significant differences between these two as well, is their backhand down the line. I was taking a look before this match because it was such a crucial shot in London for Thiem. He has about 29% of his winners off his backhand go down the line. Rafa only 11%. And when he hit them in London, he averaged 89 miles an hour. I mean, that off a ground stroke, that is an insane speed. And it forces you, Sam, as well, as the opponent of Dominic Thiem, to have to play more central. You want to, as a tennis player, kind of semi-guess which way, and you want to play the percentages, but if he can hit it that well and that fast, you have to pull yourself more to the center.
Well, it's not an easy proposition. Because once you start going down the centre of the court, the thing he has is that ultra-heavy forehand that then pushes you back off the baseline and puts you on the defence.
Let's first one.
Things just getting a little tricky for Thiem now.
Good use of the serve down the tee, 196 kilometres an hour. Sliding away from the Nadal backhand at that pace and that placement. 5 or 15-30, great composure from Thiem.
Nadal looking to back up here. He wants to make this return. Well, he didn't need to.
Well, just that change in the vision of Thiem, wasn't it? Nadal pushing back. We've seen him stand on top of the baseline and try and take it on. Draws the double fault. A break point opportunity.
Oh. I mean, that just skipped through the court, didn't it?
Well, I mean, there was no nerves on that forehand. It's been made to play. Great scramble from Rafa. Got this one down. It's an awkward shot, this low forehand. Thiem's got quite a whippy forehand, has a tendency to wrap these around the frame occasionally, but
what a tussle.
Advantage, Nadal.
And Nadal tugs that one just wide enough of Thiem. Creates himself a second break point. Well, he's succumbed to the pressure in the end. There's been some unbelievable tennis to watch and savour, but an unforced error from Dominic Thiem hands Nadal the break at a crucial time in the opening set, 6-5. What an evening for everyone here in Adelaide to enjoy. The sun's out, the superstars are here, and there's more to come as well. Simona Halep, of course, up against Australia's Barty after this wonderful contest. Twists and turns throughout this opening set. It's no surprise, perhaps, that we're at 6-5. When you look at their previous meetings on a hard court, they've had 11 sets, and at least 8 of them have either gone 7-5 or 7-6. It's always been tight, but it is Nadal with the edge here, serving for it.
Love 15.
Did he change his mind?
He looked a little non-committal, didn't it? Just got up on it a little bit too quickly. Expect him to almost hit that and follow it in. We've seen him do it so often, get to the net.
Just the way he tapped his head afterwards looked as though he was thinking something that he shouldn't have been. Big point. The salvation beckon here for Dominic Thiem.
No mistake this time, jumps on the forehand, gets himself the easy overhead. Those shadows that Fitzy mentioned earlier have all passed now. Perfect conditions for the players.
I think if Rafa was going to punch here, you'd want him to at least have 12-ounce gloves, wouldn't you? You'd want a lot of padding, because that smash is just an indication of how much power he has.
Oh, come on.
Well, I was impressed, Mark, how quickly Rafa got out there to hit that forehand, because Thiem hit 3 balls in a row within a metre, probably half a metre of the baseline. He gets around one of them way over in the other corner, but in the end it was a mistake, because as good as the forehand was, Thiem was waiting for that off one, and he knows how to approach the net himself. Chance to get back in this.
Well, if you're going to give these top guys a look at a forehand pass or go to the forehand side with an approach shot, it's got to be good. Nadal from down around his feet was able to get that one deep into the court. Thiem had a look at the pass.
Has he glued that to the line? Somehow.
On the left baseline, the ball was called in.
I think he thinks it's in, Mark. I'm sitting close to that line. I think the outside edge is my guess. And he sees the funny side of it, Rafa. He had to challenge, didn't he?
(30-40). Mr. Nadal has 2 challenges remaining.
Another stick of TNT from Thiem. He has hit a couple of dynamite forehands in this game. Can he capitalize on it? Break point.
He'll be disappointed there. 161 kilometres an hour. He was sitting on the backhand return. It's a let off for Nadal.
Out. Mr. Thiem is challenging the goal on the left near sideline. The ball is called out.
Well, between two great players, there's always going to be wafer-thin margins at times. He was on the right side of Hawkeye recently, not so this time.
Mr. Thiem has one challenge remaining. Advantage Nadal.
His challenge in the set hanging by a thread. Set point. Oh, it has skipped on the line as he skips to his chair. What a memory for everyone that opening set was. This is how it should be, and that's how it was for Rafael Nadal. 7-5. Well, from the present to the past, one of the great moments for Rafael Nadal as he claims his one and only Australian Open title back in 2009 against the odds as well. A semi-final against fellow Spaniard that went over 5 hours, and then almost 5 hours it took him to bit past his great nemesis, Roger Federer. Heartbroken at the end of that was the Swiss superstar, understandably so. Epic third set breaker. And back to present day, and for all of those hundreds, if not thousands of volunteers in Australia and the people that have been employed by Tennis Australia, this is why you work so hard the last few months to put on a show like this. The miracle in Melbourne will be happening, but right now it's Memorial Drive that's creating a wonderful memory.
Second set, Dominic Thiem to serve.
Set to Nadal, and we're all set for set two.
Love 15. Mr. Nadal is challenging the goal on the left center.
Out?
I think out.
Out, you've gone out. Okay, well, your eyes are better than mine. I've got a pair of glasses here, and I don't see any near your side of the desk.
It just looked like it was going to miss initially. Oh, I'm wrong. Where are those glasses?
15.
They suit you.
(30-15). Mr. Nadal has 2 challenges remaining.
Picture tells 1,000 words.
(40-15).
Read the shoulders there.
That's a warm-up serve for you, Grothy.
Used to be. My arm would be in the 5th row if I tried that now.
40-32.
Looks like he shortened the backswing up on his backhand a little bit, Nadal, in this match.
Game team.
Team robust and durable as ever. Up and running in the second. Was the shot at the French Open, wasn't it? His 13th French Open that came by getting past Novak Djokovic in some what seemed to be pretty heavy conditions there. But the backhand cross court that day, Sam, was absolutely breathtaking.
Well, I know he's tough to play anywhere, but I can attest to playing him at Roland Garros. It is an absolute nightmare. It was 88 of the worst minutes of my life.
You're on a fairly distinguished list, if it's any consolation.
It doesn't make me feel better.
15.
Grothy, for what it's worth, you got 2 more games than most of us would have.
Yeah.
I got 3.
Just undersold him there, Fitzy, by 30%.
No, I was assuming that you and I could get 1 game, but maybe I was overrating us, Mark.
100%.
That court is it's convex, isn't it? It's slopes down at the ends, and that top spin off that hard surface just gets so high. It's the perfect court for Rafa. That's the one no one would want to play him on.
$30-15.
Good to see a serve volley from Rafa himself out here today.
Does that count?
Well, I think that's what you call a serve and survey. I don't think we can strictly say that that was a serve volley. I'd like to take credit for looking into a crystal ball.
You just saw how far Dominic Thiem was back into the corner of the court. Almost just left him no option but to take the ball out of the air.
Game Nadal.
It was a high-intensity first set. Both players,
1 game.
it seems the first couple of games of this set just take a moment to almost reset themselves a little bit.
That's a straight-up serve and volley. Right out of the textbook, Fitzy.
Yeah, I like that part of his game. You know, we've talked about how he can get a little bit more variety. The big thing for these players, I think, is when they're in a really tense situation, sometimes they revert back to what they know best. In fact, quite a lot. And Dominic does that. You know, he learned on clay. He's so safe and feels so comfortable way back behind the baseline. But a bit of this, to incorporate something like a serve volley is... It just gives him another dimension, and I think, you know, to really reach his peak, he's probably not there yet in his career. I mean, he's just won his first major a few months ago, but he's been knocking on the door, hasn't he? Having to deal with these 3 great players in the same era, but if he can just be a bit more versatile, it has to help him.
Ball.
they need any help knocking down a few walls around here for the next stage of the refurbishment, they can use Rafa's forehand.
He just bludgeoned that, got around so quick with his feet. That was like throwing a sledgehammer, wasn't it?
(40-15). Game team.
Anything you can do in terms of pace, I can do equally as well. And he has hit a thunderbolt team on that first serve. 2-1, second set.
Time.
Great to see fans milling around inside and out.
Move along quickly, please. Take your seats.
Discussing what's in front of them right now, which has been some absolutely world-class tennis. Team one of 13 players in the men's top 100 with a single-handed backhand. One of 2 Austrians in the top 100 as well. Of course, Denis Novak also there, just inside at 99 in the world. Bit of good fortune. Having a single-hander hasn't been a disadvantage for him as well against lefties, against southpaws for team as well. 13 wins, just the 2 losses recently for him.
I think it's the power he possesses off that side.
40.
Generally, the forehand wing of a player will be able to create more spin, lift up on you, get out of the single-hander's hitting zone, but he's so strong up there. With how flat he's able to hit it, he can almost hit down from that high ball.
Game, Nadal. New balls, please. 2 games all.
Just look at those fans on the side. Look at what this evening means to them. Everyone has sacrificed so much in Australia to get back to what is normal. Not a new norm, the norm.
I just feel like the backhand has such good disguise. He rotates around. Looks like he's going to pull this one cross court. But his ability to change almost direction last second is where it's a huge strength. And he doesn't hit it down the line with a whole lot of topspin. He almost imparts side spin on the ball where it skips away as well.
30-15.
Interesting shot selection from Thiem. Climbed all over it, only just to hit a little slice and almost put himself on the back foot.
(40-15).
Probably why you can't serve and volley too much against someone like Nadal's returns, because you need to use it more as a shock move, like a surprise.
Well, that sent shockwaves through Adelaide. Really ramping up his serve speed here at the moment. Dominic Thiem, 3-2, keeping Nadal at bay.
A lot of net.
Thiem leads 3-2. Time.
Nadal's star shows no sign of waning as day turns into night here in Adelaide. He is still illuminating all of these fans that have come out to witness him here in South Australia. Well, he himself gives a lot to charity, and if you can spare any charity as well, of course, the Australian Tennis Foundation, which has pledged itself through Tennis Australia as the official charity to rebuild communities affected by the bushfires. Over $130,000 has been pledged to help those communities that were affected by the fires, including a $40,000 pledge to Stokes Bay Tennis Club on Kangaroo Island, which was hit hard by the bushfires.
He assesses the situation really well at the net. Nadal knew that if he was going to hit a hard volley here, Thiem was going to have the opportunity to run into a backhand. Just opens the racket face up, delicate touch from the Spaniard.
40-15.
I know he loves to get deep in the court, Thiem, but he was as far behind the baseline then as the service line is from the baseline. And with that swinging serve wide, you think that just increases the ankle, gets further and further away from him there.
Game, Nadal.
Well, there's no doubt that that's true. Fits in. And Nadal, with excellent placement, has just exploited it again.
He's almost in, is it the Torrens there, Fitz?
He was all, yeah, he was so far behind the Adelaide side when he tried to make those two last returns. Maybe a little bit of a tactical move just to change it up a little bit, but he loves being back there.
Well, he used to have a two-hander, and you can see why he changed.
Well, if the only remnants of it are the open stance backhand winner we saw earlier, I think that's a good thing.
It is just exquisite, exhilarating.
A little bit of Hollywood on that one, wasn't there? It looks like he's the last 3 or 4 points. It's been a little bit more like an exhibition than the real stuff, because he's trying some stuff now that we haven't seen before, isn't he?
That's a let-off for Dominic Thiem. Just rolled the first serve in, went, as Fitzy mentioned, miles back behind the baseline there, was quite content to almost just let the point play out. Nadal dumps the backhand.
Good dig from Dominic Thiem there on the first volley. Kept it low, allowed the net to protect him by keeping it so low, and he protects his lead, 4-3.
Time.
Nadal serving 3-4, second set. Beautiful forehand from him. That rainbow shape that just exploded off the court. Team just not catching up to the bounce there. He's hit an auxiliary court there.
He's hit that out of the middle of the racket too.
That was a lot closer.
40.
Tantalizingly fell back on his side of the court. he's seen how far he's dropped back, hasn't he, Nadal? And he is doing everything right here in terms of making life easy for himself on his serve.
4 games all.
What makes it easy when he's that far back? You don't have to do a lot with the volley. He's so quick moving forward as well, Nadal. He actually makes it so much easier for himself. Good to see he's enjoying being out there too.
Love 15.
And he has just evolved as a player over the years, hasn't he, as well? He has entertained new ideas. He hasn't been as resistant to change as some people are. You know, a lot of people look at change and think about what they're going to lose rather than what they're going to gain. Well, I don't know what tension he strings his racket at, but he strings it with TNT.
I mean, where did that just come from? It seemed like he was quite content just hanging in the rally, and then...
He's experimenting, isn't he, now?
Well, that was just a meteor that just arrived in Adelaide.
He's just got a little loose, hasn't he? He's just dropped the commitment to concentration a little bit here, and a couple of loose shots. So it's right here for the taking now for Rafa.
Boy, wandered into that.
13-40.
Look at the way he hit the shot. He was off balance as he was striking it. You'll do well to get out of this, Dominic Thiem. And that is not going to help his cause. Extravagant and ultimately expensive. Nadal will serve for the match.
Nadal leads 5 games to 4. Time.
Well, incredible touch from Nadal, but Thiem showing his speed, unable to get there. I mean, quality tennis, is it? You'd expect nothing less from when these two players, the world number 2 and the world number 3.
15 love.
And maybe for one night or one day at the drive, but they're bringing their best.
There it is. Dominic Thiem hasn't used that today. He did use it a lot in Australia against Nadal last year on his way to victory there. It's a great matchup between these two. It's one to savour. From start to finish, it has been fabulous. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about this rivalry as well, is the expectation of the inevitable. You know what you're going to get when these two take to the court, and it is a highly, highly entertaining encounter. Match points to Nadal. Well, it's a fitting way to end up at the match. What a moment for everybody in Australia.
7-5, 6-4.
There has been so much hard work putting in to getting these events ready, up and running for the last hour and a half to happen. It looks great for the Australian summer in terms of the safety of the sport taking place, but it also looks great for both of these two as well. Their tennis is always captivating. And a highly successful outing for Rafael Nadal.
Well, a great hit out for both players, wasn't it? It was high quality tennis, that first set especially. Some monster hitting from both players, exactly what you'd expect. And coming into next week's ATP Cup, these guys have probably got out of this exactly what they wanted to. 2 quality sets against a quality opponent in front of a 4,000-seat stadium. What more could you ask for?
And the reliability and the ruthlessness that we've come to expect from this man, still very much evident out there. Another successful season, of course, last year, winning his 13th Roland Garros. And who knows, he may well go on to capture that elusive second Australian Open title that he wants. Team so close last year, coming up short against Novak Djokovic in the final. These two will be at the business end, you feel, of the Australian Open. And they get an opportunity here, I'm sure, to thank the fans with John Fitzgerald.
Well, this is a treat for us to see tennis at this level and with a full crowd. We haven't seen too much of that over the last 12 months, Dominic, and in the meantime, you win your first major. It's been an interesting year for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very tough year for everybody, but still great success for me. But I think now and today it's time to really be thankful and grateful for today, for Australia, for everything what you guys did for us. It was great 2 weeks here in Adelaide. Thank you. And I mean the first almost full crowd since a year, so really a pleasure for us, I guess. So thank you very much.
Well, I think you can tell also from the Australian public how we appreciate you adhering to our regulations and going through what you went through in the last 2 weeks. It's not easy, but we're delighted now that you can be in the community, you can play for the rest of the summer. Has that US Open win a few months ago changed your life a little bit? It must have, Dominic.
Yeah, I mean, it took away a lot of pressure for myself because I really wanted that title so much. Lost 3 finals. It was tough, 2 against this guy. But no, I finally got it, and was my biggest wish I ever had in my tennis career, so I made that. But I also hope that there are great things waiting for me in the future.
Well done. He might be a nice guy, but he doesn't share too much, does he, Rafa?
Nah, he doesn't share too much, especially at the French Open, nothing.
Thanks, Dominic. And Rafa, to see you live, mate, it brings a smile to all of our faces. Gee, you've been coming here a long time now, and this court suits you. We one day think you might win another Australian Open. We hope so.
Well, let's see.
Your preparation is already good. You look to be in good form already.
Well, yeah, have been a very hard year for all the world in general now. So for us in Spain, we were hit very hard for the virus now. So we're still in a very tough situation. I think Australia is an amazing positive example about how to make things the right way to control the pandemic. So many congratulations to the country. Yeah, last 2 weeks have been great, honestly. Of course, it's not ideal to stay 14 days under quarantine, but that's the way that we need to do the things today. You know? So we can't thank enough South Australia, we can't thank enough Tennis Australia for all the positive things that they make for us. And I think for both of us have been an amazing pleasure to be here in Adelaide for the first time in our lives. Have been amazing to play again in front of you guys. We missed a lot. And yeah, I hope to have the right preparation for the Australian Open. No, I won there in 2009. I think almost everybody forget about that. But I keep trying hard, and this year is a special one, and I'm going to keep trying my best in area one.
Thank you, Rafa. Look, I think you've almost said it all. You've wrapped it up beautifully. How do you keep looking so young?
You are not in my body.
You're still getting better.
Not better, no. I think. No, I don't want to answer that. But no, I still passionate for the sport, no, and I still enjoying. I never dreamed about being where I am with 34. If you tell me that 10 years ago, I will tell you, okay, forget it. But here I am, and I'm super happy, enjoying every single moment that I am able to keep competing, keep playing in front of the best crowds in the world. Hopefully this situation will go way quick, and we will be able to enjoy the fans on court. No, we are super excited to have the fans in Australian Open as well as today, so we're looking for that.
Well, long may you play, Rafa, and thank you for
very
tonight.
much.
Good luck for the rest
Thank
of
you
the
very
summer.
much, everyone. Thank you.
Well, no slowing the great man down, is there? And that's a sample of what is to come over the next 3 weeks as we head to the ATP Cup and we get towards the Australian Open. And there was some amazing shot making tonight from both players. Rafa's forehand as heavy as ever, but that particular shot there, that backhand goes down as the shot of the day at the Drive. But it's the relentlessness of the Nadal game, the heavy forehand, that lefty swing serve that opens it up so he can use that weapon. But both players would be very happy with how this match played out for them. They showed that they're in good form. It was a perfect opener to the Australian summer for both of them. And talk about power, it even got a big smile from Dominic Thiem, that one. This was to finish it off for Rafa Nadal. Takes it out in straight sets. 7-5, 6-4, and a wave to the appreciative crowd. And what a roar he got when he stepped down onto the court for the first time. And you can tell by that smile that he has enjoyed himself immensely today at Memorial Drive. Great to see him back. Let's take a look at the Matchstacks stats. Rather good serving from both of them, 65 and 64%. But as is often the case, winners tend to describe how the match finishes off. 22-18 in favour of Rafael Nadal, but a really well-fought match from both of them and a great sample of what is to come. What is to come next here at the Drive is this match. It is Australia's own world number one, Ash Barty. She takes on Simona Halep. Don't go far away because we're looking forward to Ash hitting the court. It's been a long time, but she is back. That is next. So what do you want to chat about that we haven't already chatted about? Yeah.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Can we just get another
Yep. Count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Just keep going.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you.
Cool.
sets. She's incredible the way she goes about the sport, more so than her tennis itself.
She comes in and does what she needs to do and she gets out.
She's amazing at representing not just our country but the tennis in general.
I think her brain. She has a really good tennis IQ. I think she sees the court really well.
Because I get to play a game that I love, that is my passion, and I get to enjoy it every single day.
Not the first set she would have liked, but the second and third were way better.
She's had so much success and stayed the same.
She's such a great down-to-earth person. Yeah, I think it's great for not just for Australia, but it's great for tennis that she's #1 at the moment.
It's neither a burden nor a blessing. It just kind of is what it is.
Obviously, she's very smart, knows tennis, the game, like probably one of the best. And sometimes listening to her at Fed Cup, you know, talking about players, it's crazy how much knowledge she has, and hopefully I can learn a little bit.
Barty makes it look easy. Oh, she's on fire, Ash Barty.
Such an easy person to be around with, and yeah, I feel pretty lucky to be able to be teammates with her.
And a big smile to this enormous packed crowd.
I'm far from a national hero. I think there are certainly a lot more people out there doing more important things than playing a game of tennis.
Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about her, that's for sure.
Well, what an incredible package, Casey, when you look at what her teammates say about her. But the humbleness is when you looked at the accolades of the Player of the Year, #1 player in the world, and there was a moment there where they said she hasn't changed. She hasn't changed, has she?
Absolutely
not. How is that possible?
Well, I think a lot in her life has changed in terms of her tennis, but Ash herself hasn't changed. And I think we see that the way she goes about her interviews, the way she goes about greeting just every person that she meets. And I think that's what we love about her. She's literally your girl next door that you can have a chat with.
Who can kick a footy, who won the club championships at golf. A unique talent.
Yeah, absolutely. A unique talent and just an average Aussie girl that likes to go out there, trains hard, works hard, respects the people around her, her team particularly, who obviously she's very tight with, and goes about her business. I want to talk about going about her business. It's a nice little segue into a year where she didn't travel overseas. She's stayed in Australia since the Australian Open. You chat with her regularly. What was her year like in terms of hours spent on court? I mean, you can't just practice if you've got nothing to go to. So what was she doing to be able to keep the motivation? Yeah, well, I think the first thing to factor in was the fact that she chose to not go overseas for her own safety with her health and as well as her team. So then when she knew that, I guess she wasn't going to be going overseas and competing, just to have a really good balance of spending when there was a big chunk of the middle part of the year where she wasn't going to go overseas, just a couple of times a week, getting out on court, making sure she kept her feel, but continually doing her off-court work. And I think that's a really important point because it is hard to go out there, hit for hours on a day when you don't know when your next tournament's going to be. But obviously, as the Australian Open's crept closer, that load on court has increased. Well,
one of the things, we've got some footage here of her playing against Petra Kvitova in the semis of the Australian Open. And by this time, she'd come off winning the Tour Championships, winning in Adelaide. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, it was the quarterfinals, not the semis. But because she lost in the semis, didn't she? But this was all... It was sort of routine. It was just going. How difficult is it going to be to pick that up after so long away?
Well, I think what Ash does really well with her team as well is has a really good understanding of expectation of what she expects from herself when she walks out on the court. So for her going out tonight in Adelaide, she's just going to be grateful to be out on the court, to be competing. I'm sure there's a couple of things that she'll want to focus on throughout the match, but it's all about just getting court time. And, you know, she is in a very similar position to a lot of other players where the WTA Tour, we haven't had a lot of competition over the last few months. So in that sense, she's coming out, she's going to be fresh. She's going to be excited. At the end of the day, she's a competitor and she's going to want to be out there playing.
Well, she made a comment to me in a little interview that we did in our AO Countdown show, where she said, I was actually so nervous in the final of the club championships. I had more butterflies standing on her first tee than I did when I was in the final at Roland Garros. Do you think she's going to have some of those butterflies tonight getting back into this in front of a big crowd?
Oh, of course there's going to be a few butterflies for her, but I think once she gets out there and just feels her way through the game, she's going to play Simona Halep. She's going to get an opportunity to hit a lot of balls, so that's going to help her as well.
We can see Simona Halep poking her head around there, and I think they're about ready to get out onto court. That's coming up right now. Here they come.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our first player on court tonight is unquestionably a fan favourite the world over, with 2 Grand Slam titles to her name. From Romania, could you please welcome the world number 2, Simona Halep. And her opponent tonight is someone you know oh so well. She won the 2019 French Open and won the inaugural Adelaide International event last year. Ladies and gentlemen, the world number 1 from Australia, Barty.
Well, did you see those smiles as both of them walked out onto court? It was it was so beautiful to watch. Both of them so appreciative, so excited. Simona Halep in picture there. And we're going to listen to the coin toss here.
Okay, turn around this way, Sofia. All right, Sofia is going to do the coin toss. She's a bit nervous. But what we'll do first, can we make a photo that way, but just socially distanced? Yeah, so just turn around, Sofia. All right, perfect. Just a reminder, if you go to your towel, just leave it at the chair and keep coming back and forwards to your towel at the chair. Otherwise, you've got to carry a big box and it gets a bit crazy, so yeah. Any questions? We have Hawkeye and 2 sets, then a match tiebreak. Sophia's going to turn around so they can see you. And you're going to do the coin toss. You can ask any player you like to call, all right? And what is it? Tails? Your call. Okay. Thank you.
Well, Barty didn't win the toss, but she got the right to serve first, and there was 3 huge smiles there. Young Sofia, what a great picture and a memory for her, Casey.
Yeah, absolutely. For her, great to see Simona Halep back in Australia, reconnected with her coach in Adelaide, Darren Cahill. Had a great 2020. Todd won 3 titles in Dubai, Prague and Rome. So coming off some great form with the limited amount of schedule that there was. She certainly shone in 2020 and we'll be excited to be back down here in Australia.
Yeah, she certainly will. It's so weird to say this. She won Wimbledon in 2019 and she's still the current Wimbledon champion. Of course, Wimbledon, the only slam that didn't get completed in 2020. As we take a look at Barty, she was born and bred in Ipswich. She's still living up there. She's been working on a dream home at the moment, and why wouldn't she? She's had a good 12 months to do that, but she's ready to get back into action. She is the world number 1. We know all of her accolades. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, it'll be the start of this match between Simona Halep and Barty.
2 minutes.
And ladies and gentlemen, doing the overtime tonight, and our second match again is our German player. Please give a warm round of applause, Jean Blanc.
One minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Simona Halep won the toss and elected to receive.
Day 1 of quarantine.
Some of the players have done it a little harder than others in these past 14 days. Of course, we've had some of the playing cohort that were in full lockdown, unable to come out of their rooms and doing the very best they could to stay fit and be creative. Heather Watson and Stefanos Tsitsipas in particular. And then, of course, that was Alex de Minaur sitting at the door waiting for the knock to be able to be let out of his room for the first hit.
Time.
We're ready for the first hit here, and it'll be Ash Barty to get us underway.
First set. Ashley Barty to serve. Play. Love 15.
Well, early stages, one of the keys to the success, as we see Darren Cahill there, coach of Simona Halep in picture, with Ash's game and the step that she made. The step that she made to be able to get to #1 in the world had a lot to do with the first serve and how much of a weapon that became. And her first serve percentages are hugely important to the results for her, Casey.
It's points 1 on first serve as well, Todd. I think she's done a really good job over the years. Over the last 18 months, well, obviously hasn't played in the last 12 months, but prior to that, just adding some even more variety into her service games as well. Great first service game there from Ash, but she's always had the ability with her ball toss to disguise what type of serve she wants to hit and when. So has the ability to hit all spots with the same ball toss, and then obviously has the advantage of having a great kick serve as well, getting it out of a lot of the other players' strike zones.
Got Fitzy courtside, a perfect start. Fitzy, hold of serve, that'll settle some nerves.
Yes, Todd, I think so. Always nerve-wracking that first game, isn't it? But she had good rhythm. She looked relaxed. And certainly that last forehand was very telling, I thought. So that'll give her a bit of confidence.
A match like tonight won't count in the record books in a head-to-head situation. But if we take a look at that, Simona Halep leads 3-1 in matches played.
Yeah, the win that Ash had over Simona Halep, Sydney International 2019 it was, she won that match 6-4, 6-4, and it was a real turning point for Ash, giving her that confidence to beat a player like Simona Halep. And this match out here tonight, I think it's a really good match for Ash to be able to feel her way through it, get lots of chances to hit a lot of balls, use her craftiness, use her variety. As it's a good matchup for Simona Halep to be able to come out here and play Ash.
Game, Halep. One game more.
Nice settler as well for Simona Halep. No, you're right about that opportunity to hit a lot of balls, because these two, what you mentioned, the craftiness and the slice backhand of Ash Barty. Simona Halep likes to manoeuvre and work the ball around the court. She doesn't hit a lot of clean winners. Both of these two on the shorter side of the height scale in women's tennis.
Yeah, slightly different matchup to what we saw earlier in the day with two very big power hitters of the game, Serena and Osaka. Both of these players shorter of stature, but make up for it in many other ways.
And for 5'5", have a look at that speed, 185. She has great technique and has really used that to her advantage.
Ash does really well with her serve. It's shoulder over shoulder and drives out of her serve much better than a lot of female players.
So because of that, she gets more of a kick serve shape that the ball bounces up, jumps.
Absolutely, kick serve and also more power.
She also gets some extra jump on the forehand. That one pulling Halep out of court to set up the easy put away. Here's that one. You see a rip through the back of it. Halep having to hit a squash-like shot from the corner there.
Juice.
Beautiful transition into the net there from Ash. Always something that she's looking at using in a game.
Is there a player on tour who has better volleys than Barty?
No, and I'm not saying that to be biased, but,
I agree with your answer, by the way. Holds, and we are on serve in this opening set. Barty leads 2-1. Welcome back to a day at the Drive. What a day it's been. The world have been watching Adelaide and they've seen crowds in the stands at a sporting event, and it has created great viewing for people around the world. If you're watching, welcome to Adelaide. In both sessions today, Casey, sold out. 4,000 people was the capacity allowed into Memorial Drive, and the tickets went very quickly. And South Australia and Adelaide showing what can be done.
Highlight for me is seeing the players out on court just thriving in the moment of having fans there. It's been so long in between having some fans out on court, so it's been a fantastic atmosphere out on court today.
Well, the Australian Open gets underway in just over a week now, and crowds will be allowed at the Australian Open. Still great ticket opportunities for people to get in there and watch. And they've been able to watch here tonight and go, okay, well, it can be done. I want to get out and watch the big names play.
You know, Todd, I can't help thinking that, you know, when you're out of the game for a long time, that the biggest thing is to keep those unforced errors down. For no reason, Ash missed that one, and normally a player of her stature wouldn't.
Oh, that's too good. Beautiful backhand down the line from Halep.
Halep. 2 games all.
Yeah, this is one of her weapons, the backhand down the line. Can not only change direction when she's inside the court, but as you see there, behind the baseline. Beautiful.
Halep challenging that ball, left baseline.
Well, Ash, she talked her into that one. She's so honest. She looked and said, "Oh, I'm not sure." And Simona then challenged. Maybe it was the double con, that one. From
Maybe it was Fitzy, yeah.
15 love.
She's been in training. It's a new part of the Barty arsenal.
Talked her into it challenging when it was out.
Does that challenge go against Ash
I don't
or
know.
Halep there?
Well, both players, it's all smiles tonight, as you would expect in a match like this. But I had a chat to Simona during the week in a little interview, and I asked her about at the Australian Open last year, where Darren Cahill had said, okay, anytime you look and give me anything negative or grief in the players box, you get fined. Like €200 or 200 Aussie dollars it was for to go to the fire appeal that we had in last January. Good stuff from Barty. I asked her, did you ever pay? She said, yeah, I had to pay. But she said, you know what? It was fantastic. She says, I've never felt so free out on the court to do what I wanted. And I want to keep that going. And it was interesting that she felt that it actually allowed her to sort of let her emotions go a bit more on court. That's wide. It's a love game, and Barty holds serve, leads 3-2 first set.
Barty leads by 3 games to 2.
Well, it's been a good start for Ash Barty. Casey, you mentioned just a nice matchup, a nice way to ease in, although you're playing such a high caliber player in Simona Halep, but she's having the chance to find some form and find the middle of the racket, and it's a good foray back into international tennis.
I think when Ash knew that she was going to be coming to Adelaide and playing a player like Halep, it would have been a perfect first match for her to get out here. I think she's done a really good job in these first 5 games to not overplay, find the court, use the angles where appropriate. angle there. Got some width on the forehand and just flicked that one cross-court.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say Halep's biggest strength and her biggest weapon is having the ability to consistently ask her opponent questions.
Yep, very rarely gives you an unforced error. You could probably count that one there as one. Just felt like she needed to press a little more off that backhand. Bit of a chance here for Barty.
She's got great variety, hasn't she? She's really showing us some talent in this game.
Was a short second serve, Fitzy. Got what it deserved.
Yeah, but she's really mixed it up, hasn't she, in this game, and shown us a repertoire of shots here. Big chance to get a break early. Maybe a fraction ambitious.
30-40. I think she agrees with you, Fitzy, with a wry smile there after missing that, but another opportunity
She was
here.
halfway. Yeah, I think she was halfway through that shot, Casey, and started thinking, no, maybe it's the wrong one.
Oh, that was a good dig on that forehand from Halep because that backhand stayed so low. She finds the line.
She did a good job, didn't she? Pasted the line here with this forehand.
That's the one there. She digs it out. So 2 break points saved.
Gee, I can't help thinking Darren Caleb is sitting there thinking, no, tactically that was the wrong play.
That drop shot there across court just opened the court right up for her opposition there.
Yep.
Game Barty.
Third time lucky for Barty. She gets the first break of the match.
Barty leads.
Beautiful play from Ash off the backhand side, using her slice. Simona Halep having to hit up, and Ash taking the opportunity to step inside the court and take this ball beautifully down the line.
Well, there's that variety, isn't it? The slice sets up the ball to then be able to drive through. She's got both those weapons off the backhand.
15.
Great kick serve. Fitzy, you've got something special for us.
Well, I don't think I've got anything special, but Ash Barty does. Todd. She really has shown a repertoire of shots in this last sort of 5 minutes in the previous game. I think she opened up the court and probably forced Simona to make the wrong choice at deuce there when she drop shotted across court. That was the wrong play, and Ash has had the pressure on her here because she's used that slice down the line. She's changed the speed of the ball, and when she opens the court up with that slice down the line, then she can come in off the forehand wing. Clever tennis player.
And what a way to consolidate the break. Closes it with an ace, and she's got the lead of 5-2 in the first set.
Barty leads 5-2.
Simona Halep there, trails 2-5. And Casey, we've talked a lot about Ash Barty, but what about Simona Halep? She's had the difference for her. She's had the quarantine in Adelaide where she's been in the bubble and been able to be out for 5 hours a day. Darren Cahill, he is from Adelaide, but he had to go inside that quarantine bubble to be able to do the work. But how have you rated her performance to start tonight?
I think she'd be happy with her level so far. I think when you're playing a player like Ash, you can sense that Simona's wanting to go into Ash's backhand, but when Ash is hitting a backhand with variety, it's tough to know where to go against a player like Ash. So much of Simona's game is revolved around her fitness, her ability to work hard. So she has had that 5 hours to be out practicing, but she'll be eager to get more and more match time. That's where she plays her best.
It was a pretty good tweener.
It was a great tweener, this one.
Here we go, let's have a look.
15-13.
She hit it cleanly, didn't she?
That's very impressive. Good 1-2 punch. We saw Ash Barty just trying to straighten the strings back up. She's made a bit of a change. Casey, we'll get to that in a little bit. You've got a little bit of insight into that.
You're making a... just asking the question to Ash again about the line call, but had the time during the last 12 months, Ash, to take a look at and fine-tune some things with her racket. She's been wanting for a while to change to some gut, so put gut in half her racket in the crosses.
So she played with a full synthetic and has adapted.
Yep.
Game Halep.
Halep hangs on, and it'll be Barty to serve for the opening set. So she's put gut in. Does she got that in the mains or in the crosses?
In the crosses.
Yeah.
Took
and
her,
the reason for that?
I think more power, more velocity on the ball, And also, I think just for the longevity of her body, helping her arm out. Took her a couple of weeks, she said, to, find her feel, but she had the time to do that. No stress, no panic about having to prepare for a tournament. Fabulous pickup from Ash. I've actually been telling her for years, told to get onto the gut because it's a fabulous string, but I think it's certainly going to help Ash with her game.
Good depth again off the backhand.
Really impressed with the backhand side as we take a look at the first serve points won. We mentioned it earlier, 92% for Ash.
And a couple of set points. And a nice opening set from the world number one. She takes it 6-3.
Time. Second set, Simona Halep to serve.
Welcome back to a day at the drive. Start of the second set, Halep serving. Lucky to get away with the drop shot, but there is the skill set of Ash Barty. Just picks up a low volley with ease. Makes it look so simple, yet it's not really.
Love 30.
And a really good level from Ash. I'm really impressed with the controlled aggression that she's had through this entire match. You saw there a few more unforced errors off the racket from Simona Halep, which in some ways you would expect a few more from Ash normally in a matchup like this.
Replay points.
So replaying the point there, look, it just becomes more and more apparent, doesn't it, Todd? I think when you watch Ash Barty, that she can hurt her opponent in so many ways, and so it looks like Simona doesn't quite know what's coming at her on the next shot sometimes here. And she's such a great road runner and competitor and gets so many balls back. But Ash is throwing like different darts around the court with different angles, different depth perception. It's really interesting to watch her up close. And, you know, the variety is what can hurt some opposition.
Oh, throwing a bit of power off the return to Coach Craig Tyser there. Bottom right of screen. And an early break point for Barty.
Absolutely right there, Fitzy. It's so hard on his opponent when you just don't know if Ash is going to hit over the backhand, if she's going to use the slice, is she going to hit with some shape, is she going to hit with depth?
Advantage, Halep.
That's a good save from Halep to hang on to that opening service game. It was interesting when you think about Ash, you know, not going away and the preparation that she's had to do. I know she was up in Brisbane, and of course that was open. The borders were open there, and she was free at any time to travel to Melbourne. Then all of a sudden there was a slight breakout and the borders closed. So she was ahead of the game. She was keeping in touch with everything that was happening. Got on a plane immediately that there was talk of potential closure, and got herself to Melbourne so that she didn't get stuck in a quarantine situation. And that takes a bit of stress away, that you don't have, something you don't have to worry about. When she got down here, she's been working with all of the Aussie girls, Sam Stosur included, Maddie Inglis, and been playing a lot of sets. And you can actually tell that has been happening.
15.
Because there comes a point when drilling and everything's not going to get you there, is it? You've got to get back into that mode of set play.
Yeah, Ash and her coach Ty's are very proactive in trying to simulate a match as much as possible, and you can sense that seeing Ash out here tonight, that she's played a lot of practice sets, like you said, got on the plane, got to Melbourne's been practicing the last few weeks. And mentally, you can see that she was ready to get out here and play. And that's the biggest part of most of it. You can do all the practice and that, but switching on mentally relaxed, having fun.
Out. 40-30.
Ash doesn't think that was out.
Game, Barty.
Levels with the ace. And tell us a little bit about what Ash does with the Australian Tennis Foundation and what she does within the community.
Yeah, the Australian Tennis Foundation is the official charity partner for the Australian Open. Done some great work. Fitzy and I were recently involved in a trip to Cobargo. Got to go back to a community that had been affected so severely by the bushfires. So it's really nice to go back to those communities. Australian Tennis Foundation giving back, helping brighten the futures.
And Ash, she also goes and does work with the Indigenous kids, trying to get them involved in the sport. Been up to the Tiwi Islands, also up to Cairns. And that's something that she's really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. She's Indigenous ambassador. Takes a lot of pride in the work that she does with the Indigenous.
$30-15. Miss Halep is challenging the call on the left center serve. The ball's called fault.
Can't win.
Seconds. $40-15. Ms. Halep has 2 challenges remaining.
That's right. It's on serve in the second set. Halep leads 2-1. Barty took the opener.
I need some oxygen. After quarantine stuff.
Time.
Well, a beautiful evening for tennis in Adelaide. Fitzy, your courtside. What are the conditions like out there? Tad humid?
Oh, I think they're perfect. Really, it's actually pretty cool down on the surface, Todd. It's the ball wouldn't be flying as much as it would on a hot night, I think. Really enabling both players to use their variety a bit. Certainly not taxing, that's for sure. It's cool. It's not a normal summer night in Adelaide, really. I think what strikes me more than the weather, Todd, though, is that you can actually feel the joy here. You really can. People are just over the moon. They're having fun. They're just delighted to be here. I mean, the best two players in the world playing in front of you doesn't hurt either.
It was delightful to see a shot of you on screen there too, Fitzy, supporting your own hometown with the Adelaide hat on.
Oh, you noticed that?
I did.
You're looking good down there, Fitzy.
Casey, do not stretch the truth.
Let's go.
Well, just a little loose here, couple of doubles. And it puts the pressure on. So Halep with the first opportunities to get a break, two of them. Oh, she had the line wide open.
Well,
and there's the break.
It's the second time, Todd, I've seen that drop shot across court. I don't really like that one because it left Simona totally out of position there, and she was lucky that a mistake came from Ash's racket there. But yes, she's back in the match, isn't she?
She certainly is. And I guess, Casey, that therein lies a bit of the problem about concentration levels and how long you maintain them when you haven't been playing matches.
To respond in a positive way here. There's no doubt first match there was going to be a moment where there is a bit of a lapse of concentration, and when you're playing Halep, I mentioned her weapon, she'll continually ask Ash the question time and time again, and that's her ability to do that is what has kept her so consistent, Simona Halep, inside the top 10 for so many years. And just a few double faults in that last service game and a few errors creeping in.
Well, they're having fun. Ash's turn to try for the tweener.
40 love.
She's almost trying to set it up. Simona obliging, but not able to come through. Entertaining stuff. It's got a little wayward for the world number one. And it is Simona Halep on top in the second. She leads 4-1.
Halep leads by 4 games to 1. Time.
Well, have a look at that. Tennis has not seen anything like that since, what, February of 2020. Almost a capacity crowd in Adelaide. 4,000 people allowed to venture in to watch a day at the Drive, and how fantastic it has been. The players have loved the opportunity. And can't stress enough the efforts that were made from Tennis Australia government to be able to make all of this happen. And Casey, yeah, we've focused a lot on Ash, so let's flip to the other side of the court. We're seeing exactly why Simona Halep has been so good for so long, in the way that she just continues to compete, makes her opponent play the extra shot. And also, you know, her and Darren Cale, they know the Barty game well. They know where all the strengths are. They know that there are times that she might outplay you, but then they also know that if she stays to her plan, that she's able to get in. And therein lies the 3-1 lead in the head-to-head.
Tactically, Darren and Simona would have a very good grasp on how Halep beats a player like Barty, trying to get it up. You see just a lot more unforced errors creep in from Barty. There's a reason why Simona Halep, she's had 7 consecutive years finishing inside the top 4, and that, I mentioned it a number of times, it's just her ability to continually work hard for every point, make her opponent work hard, and not just once, but time and time again throughout a match.
Well, there is the double break. And Halep well on top.
Halep leads 5 games to 1.
The other thing that I feel Halep over the last couple of years has really improved, and that's her strength at end range. When she's been pushed into the corners, just having more strength to be able to reset the point, flipping the ball up, getting herself back into good court position.
Fitzy, it's changed quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's turned on its head, hasn't it? I didn't see this coming. It seems like Ashley maybe has just lost a bit of that concentration, that's all. And I think she started experimenting a little more early in the second. Maybe that's thrown her a fraction too. But you're right, you don't win the French Open and Wimbledon by not being a good competitor. And if Simona Halep is nothing else, she's certainly that. She's a wonderful sort of competitive tennis player, a real lesson, I think, for youngsters trying to learn. She doesn't go away, and she'll make Ash Barty win this for sure.
Oof.
40-50.
Huge second serve ace from Halep. It brings up 2 set points. First of the match. Oh. There's a wry smile because we don't see her serve volley too often. She actually had the play in the open court.
She did.
It's nice to see some experimentation.
Juice.
Great ball striking, great footwork too from Halep throughout that rally.
Darren happy with this forehand. You can see here Simona Halep redirecting beautifully down the line.
So point number 3.
Game
She gets it this time, and we are level. We're going to do a match tiebreak when we come back. It's a set apiece.
One settle. Ladies and gentlemen, a 10-point match tiebreak will be played to decide the match.
Well, match tiebreak to come to finish a day at the Drive. It's been an awesome day of tennis. It's been entertaining, it's been fun. And this comes down to this final tiebreak now.
Final sets, match tiebreak.
So the match tiebreak, first to 10 points, and when we had a look at the stats at the end of that set, 16-4 it was in unforced errors, 16 to Barty to 4 for Halep, and that is the difference. She has to tighten that up if she wants to win this, Casey.
2-0 Halep.
Simona Halep here again. Using the entire court to move Ash and taking the opportunity to step in.
Two 2-1 Halep.
Much better first serve placement there from Ash, finding the corner, the out wide.
Oh, what an awesome return.
3-2 Halep.
You can see Barty when she landed just leaning to the left, and this was a return we have not seen from Halep tonight. Complete redirection, timed it beautifully, and look at the accuracy. Mini break goes her way again.
It's just those type of unforced errors from Ash that have crept in. You can see there 25 off the racket of Ash and 14 from Halep.
Crowd trying to get behind the Aussie, world number 1 versus the world number 2. That was a let-off.
Beautiful body serve, wasn't it? The opportunity.
Here's the service motion. And she does mix up her serve well. Back on level terms.
4-all.
Wonderful play off this last backhand there.
Well, pays the price for going to the well perhaps once too often with the drop shot.
Made a good choice here, Ash, to push it back deep, down the middle, not giving Halep any angle to work with. Well played. Oh, that off backhand is now firing.
6-5 Halep.
It's two beauties in this tiebreak, isn't it? Watch the footwork so that she can give herself enough room to wind up on that one. And Barty was just cheating ever so slightly to the left again, wasn't she?
The smart tennis from Simona Halep, tactically there, playing a pretty precise point on getting into Ash's backhand.
Got to change ends after 12 points. It's interesting, isn't it, here? Like, it's a friendly, but you can still see the importance of getting a victory here. Simona Halep has stepped it up a notch. You know Ash wants the win.
You want to walk off the court with the win. Doesn't matter when or where. It's great to get match time. It's great to get court time, but just that competitive juices you can sense here. Fortunate miss there for Halep, that return.
Seven points so far throughout have gone against the server, but he needs to get one of these. She does.
7-all.
Was the right ball for Halep to go after, wasn't it? 7-all.
Oh, beautiful first serve and placement on that serve. Big moment.
She just put a bit of extra juice on that slice, didn't she? She kept the deep, great control, didn't allow Halep any time to set up for it. 8-all. Oh. Well, there is the retrieving skills of the world number 2.
Continually asking the question again and again and again, and force the error, reset the point once again.
And it brings up match point. And she only needs the one. Simona Halep comes out the victor.
6-1, 10-8.
And how good is it to get that feeling of the crowd cheering for her? Well played, Simona Halep. That was a perfect match for both of them. Yeah, I think we would, for Ash, would have liked to have won it, but nice comeback after that opening set from Simona.
Both players will be thrilled to have that court time, to be back out on court. As Ash thanks the crowd, both thrilled to be out there playing in front of a crowd. But I thought the level was fairly good. The first match back in a long time for Ash. We know Simona had played more throughout 2020, but some ups and downs and a few momentum changes. But all in all, I think both players will walk off the court feeling pretty happy with the amount of court time and getting that first match under their belt.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think if you were to analyse it, Ash Barty just went off a little bit there with concentration at the early stages of that second set. But when it got into the important stages in that tiebreak, she found it again. And although she didn't come out the victor, that was a really good test, and you can tell that they both really enjoyed the opportunity. We've got to remind them that we maybe can't do that. There's a little bit more social distancing required, but it was great to have them back out on court, and Fitzy's about to have a chat to them.
Simona, if we can start with you. Firstly, like I've said to some of the other players, thank you for going through the quarantine. It's been difficult, probably a little easier here in Adelaide than elsewhere because of where your coach is from, I would think.
Well, it's wonderful to be back here in Adelaide. I've been here 2 times already, and always is a pleasure to come back. I needed a little bit of oxygen today after the 2 weeks quarantine, so it was not easy. And Ash doesn't look like she didn't play last year, so well done. It's gonna be a great fight always when I play against her. Yeah, the city is nice, the people is nice, and I really missed you guys. Playing in front of you, it was a pleasure, and actually I was very nervous. I felt like it's first time playing a match.
Well, of course, that means that you really care when you get nervous, and you really care about how well you play. Having Darren Cahill with you all these years, I mean, does it make a difference coming to Adelaide? Do you feel like you're coming home a little bit when you come here? Surely.
Yeah, I feel local a little bit, I have to admit, because Darren is from here, and he actually gave me this vibe from here, and also I support a football team.
Yes, but Simona...
Should I say it?
Well, you can say it, but I think it's the other one that I like, so you have to be careful.
I'm confident. Port Adelaide.
See, maybe you shouldn't believe everything Darren Cahill tells you, right?
Sorry?
Maybe you shouldn't listen to everything that Darren Cahill tells you.
I do. I trust him. So I know Port Adelaide is a good team.
Well, if you trust Darren, that's the first mistake you've ever made, Simona.
Oh, no.
But thank you. Thanks for coming. It's a delight to see you. And Ash, you know, Simona, Ash is a big football fan too, actually. Very big, yeah. She's a bit of a winner, Ash, buddy, you know. So, Ash, look, you must have had great joy walking out here again after winning last year and not playing much in the last 12 months, but gee, what a reception you got when you walked out on the court.
It's absolutely fantastic to be back. I've genuinely missed this so much, and I cannot thank you guys enough for welcoming not only myself, but Sim and all the other players here. It's just been great to be back, and I've been getting a little bit impatient the last 2 or 3 months, getting ready to play, and I'm so excited to get started next week. Obviously, it was a perfect preparation coming here with Simo. I loved every minute. I love playing in front of you guys, and you know, it's pretty amazing to think of where we've been the last 12 months, and to now have a near full crowd here. It's remarkable.
Yeah. I think for most of us that play tennis or played a lot in our lives, it's quite extraordinary how a player can have a year off and come out here and play the way you did. I find that quite amazing. I mean, your timing was still there. You look like you're ready to compete at a Grand Slam. How do you do that?
I've done it once before, so I've had a bit of practice. No, look, it's obviously I've trained over the last few months, but nothing can replicate what we just did out here today. And there's a little bit of execution, of course, that we'd like to get right, but I just enjoyed it so much. And I think that's the most important thing, is when you come back out on the court, you love what you do, and I know that I'm excited to get started. And if it's, you know, if it's not good next week, it might be the week after, and if it's not the week after, I'll get another opportunity eventually. So just keep chipping away, trying to do the best that I can every day, but it is bloody good to be back.
Okay. I guess the good thing about having 12 months off for you is that you're still world number one. And for Simona Halep, she's still Wimbledon champion. She won Wimbledon in 2019. She's still Wimbledon champion. That's a bonus.
That's a pretty good one. I think you were pretty happy with that one.
Look, you've been delightful. Thank you. You've given us a memorable night, both of you. We look forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of the summer. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Well, 2 great ambassadors for our sport. The world number 1, the world number 2. They put on a mighty fine exhibition of tennis. And Simona Halep endearing herself to at least 50% of the fans in Adelaide. If we are going to an international broadcast here, she's gone for Port Adelaide, Darren Cahill's team, and of course there is another AFL football team in Adelaide. That's the Adelaide Crows. So she got a mixed response to that, but she knows our country well, and she played very, very well tonight. So good to see both of them in good form as they get ready now to head to Melbourne and start their preparations for the Australian Open. Okay, we'll be back in just a moment to wrap up a day at the Drive.
do.
Whoa, what a fighter. Oh, that's brilliant.
Sofia Kenin produces one of the performances of her tennis life.
Djokovic dominates.
High qualities, the Americans done it.
It's an 8th Australian Open.
And Sofia Kenin goes
child protege to Australian Open champion.
Well, I hope you're ready for it. The Melbourne Summer Series gets started the 31st of January, and boy, is there a lot of tennis to be played over that week. Of course, the ATP Cup also gets underway from the 2nd to the 6th of February, and then it's the Australian Open's turn. That starts on Feb 8. Tickets are available for all of these events, so get in if you can and enjoy some of the action live. We saw how fantastic it was to have a crowd again at the Adelaide event here tonight, and Grothy is alongside of me, Sam Groth. How good was today in a sense of that, yes, we knew we were going to see a mixed reaction to the tennis because it's the first time everybody's either come out of that quarantine bubble and see where their form's at, but to be able to see crowds and hear that buzz and see the players' faces light up when they walked out onto court was brilliant.
Well, that was the first thing, wasn't it? The players haven't had crowds in so long. To feel that energy, the noise, the excitement that comes with having people in the stands. You feel like that was the thing they actually enjoyed the most out of the whole event. A day at the Drive, I mean, huge credit to everyone there in Adelaide for putting that on. And I think giving us all hope that this can all work and it can work really well. And I mean, it gets me excited. That's a heck of a week of tennis coming up next week. I mean, there's what, 5 or 6 events?
6 events. And let's just quickly wrap tonight. Rafael Nadal has that win against Dominic Thiem. He was in good form. That match was very entertaining, some great shot making. And then Simona Halep, and a perfect start really for Ash Barty. Didn't get the win, but really nice to see her sort of come out and look like she's got more to improve, but she's there.
No, high quality from Thiem and Rafa to start. That kicked off a great night. And for Ash, it's exactly what she needed. A match, it's not going to count to a ranking. It's never going to count to a head-to-head. It's not a title, but a match in front of 4,000 people. She would have had that nervous energy. She's got that out of the way now. She's back.
Well, she is back, and everybody is back, in fact, and they're all about to make their way to Melbourne. The cohort that's in Adelaide, everybody that has been coming out of quarantine is ready to play, and we are so ready to see them in action. It's been a fantastic day to get tennis back on the screens. I hope that you have enjoyed the coverage wherever you have been watching around the world or around Australia, and it all gets underway in another couple of days, so stay tuned for more from the Melbourne Series and, of course, the Australian Open. Everybody, thanks for joining us. We look forward to plenty more tennis coming your way.